Hey, it's Holy here, back with you with another video. In this video, I'm going to go in depth with all the sniper characters, sniper classes in Nikke got us a victory. I'm going to go over which are the most powerful and the most resourceful snipers in this game, down to the worst sniper in the game. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, first one and the top sniper in the entire game is Haran. She is a burst 3 damage dealer, and she specializes in dealing over time that spreads into other enemies in the entire field. Her 2 skill allows her to penetrate enemies with a fully charged shot, which is absolutely ridiculous, similar to Snow White's burst skill, where it pierces enemies through a fully charged shot, as well as she increases her own attack for every kill that she gains, which is absolutely ridiculous. On top of that, guys, she has a attack buff that not only makes her does damage over time, but she hits like a truck. And depending on how much stack she does with her damage over time, it almost has like I don't know, I believe it's like 1,000% multiplier, which is the highest in the game. Not only that, guys, well, before that, just keep in mind that her attack is dependent on her killing enemies, and it is easy to stack. And right now, as far as the damage, she's a little bit lower than Scarlet, but it just depends on how much damage over time and where the actual virus transfers to see, you know, how much damage she actually does. But honestly, she is the best sniper right now. The only downside is that she is a program faction, and that she is a sniper rifle, which limits her ROF, or rate of fire. However, with other snipers like Adney can actually kind of remove that con of a rate of fire, which I'll get into her in a moment here with Adney, because she actually buffs snipers. But again, she has great damage over time, ability to penetrate enemies, and increases her own attack per kill. I mean, what more can you ask as a sniper? And she looks absolutely amazing. Again, the only really cons is her sniper rifle limits her rate of fire, and she's a program, so it's gonna be harder for you guys to obtain her, meaning it's harder for you guys to limit break her, to get her fully capped. But one thing I do want to point out with her con of her being a sniper rifle limiting her rate of fire, adding on to Adney, which I'll get into in a moment, is actually you can actually add a cube on her, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Alright, guys, this is the cube I was referring to. It's the resilience cube, and what it does, it increases the reload speed of characters. So this benefits most with sniper rifle users, since, you know, that's one of their cons with all snipers. And you unlock this after clearing stage 4 off a lost sector in the arc. And to further, and this is just a hint for you guys, just to further kind of alleviate that con for sniper rifle users, just as a tip for you guys. Alright, guys, these next 4 snipers are grouped up together in the same category. They're right, all these 4 are right below Haran. And just like I was stating, Admi, which is the best support for your snipers, because her first skill, what it does, it increases all charge attack damage for all your allies, which is perfect for your snipers or rocket launchers. Also, her burst skill increases the reload speed, or excuse me, it reduces the reload speed, the cooldown, I should say, on your reload, and increases the critical damage for your snipers. And honestly, she is the best support for your snipers, guys. And her grouped up with Haran, especially with those bosses that require 100% long distance levels, she's just absolutely amazing. On top of you know, she reduces damage taken for 2 of your allies with the highest attack. So I mean, what more can you ask for a sniper support? She is great. But on to the next person on grouped up with Admi. All right, guys. Next one up is going to be Exia. She is the debuffer sniper. What she does is she provides a defense debuff for your team. That way your team can burst down your enemies quicker. She also reduces attack from an enemy target. The only kind of downside to her is that it does require her hacking code, which is her burst skill, to be fully stacked for your max burst damage. But other than that, guys, she is actually a very solid sniper for your team to get you over those power creeps if you need that debuffer character and long range distance. But on to the next character here. Okay, next one up is Helm, the newest addition to Nikke. Honestly, she looks great, but she is the best single target DPS damage aside from Haran. Well, even because Haran specializes in AoEs, so Helm is arguably the best single attacker DPS for snipers. Well, you guys might be thinking she might be a burst 3 attacker, but she does offer additional utility aside from pure single DPS. Her first skill buffs. It's a crit rate buff for all allies. And she does actually has a high upkeep time if you're willing to just go manual with her. Her second skill boosts all allies' attack power, which increases the team's overall DPS as the battle progresses. And her burst skill is arguably her best skill, which provides life steal for all allies, allowing themselves to heal and keep themselves up during battle. Keep in mind that if your allies or Helm is stunned, they will not be able to heal themselves, unlike other healers where their heals always goes once casted. Also keep in mind that her burst skill only targets a single enemy and is not an AoE attack. But other than that, she's an absolutely solid sniper to have her on your team. All right, next one up, and the last one on this tier list, is Dolla. Dolla is a really solid sniper for your team. She's one of the few ones that has a sniper supporter that has the ability to decrease the remaining cooldowns of allies' burst skill, which is their utility is absolutely ridiculous. She's also a great buffer that increases attack, critical rate, and critical damage of all allies. Things kind of balance out though in a way. The values on the buffs are lower compared to characters that only have one of them. What's really unique about her is that she starts providing more buffs the more times she enters full burst mode. The max cap is three times full burst mode, making her shine in longer battles that allow her to stack the buffs. She can also deal decent amount of damage to a single enemy with her burst skill. If you pair her with leader, she's another supporter. She's not a sniper though, but she's the best leader. She's the best supporter right now in the game that can decrease the remaining cooldowns of burst skill. You will drastically increase the damage output for your team. But other than that, guys, going back to she's a sniper rifle using limited her rate of fire. But as I said prior in this video, that if you group her up with Adney and that cube to reduce her charge shot reloads, or her reload time, it kind of offsets that. But her burst damage also is focused towards targets with the highest defense, so just keep that in mind, guys. But other than that, let's move on to the next tier list for our sniper rifle roster. All right, next one up, guys, is Alice, the gullible Alice. Her skills is when she's entering full burst mode, she can affect 2 ally units with the highest attack that increases their charge speed and charge damage. She also has a passive skill where activates when above 80%. She gains continuous pierce, and she also has a burst skill which only affects herself, that increases her own charging speed and attack. Her penetration allows her to shoot through enemies, which is really good. And she does have a self buff to overcome weapon limitations, and she does have a self here. However, her downside is she doesn't have any burst damage compared to other snipers where they do a lot of damage with their bursts. But other than that, let's get on to the next person grouped up with Alice. All right, next up is Milk. She is a burst 1 sniper she could provide attack buffs to 2 main DPS, as well as gives the whole team a permanent crit damage buff. You just have to make sure she stays healthy above 80% for the crit damage buff to work. Overall, Milk is a decent support that will make your damage dealers even stronger, but the issue with her is that her cooldowns are really long. Her attack buff can be activated every 20 seconds, and it lasts for 10 seconds. Which isn't too bad, but she also has a 40-second cooldown for her burst skill, so just keep an mind out for that. There are definitely more viable options for Milk, but she is definitely a decent option if you're limited on sniper rifle users. Next sniper, guys, it's going to be a Maxwell. Maxwell, just like Snow White, she can transform her weapon, allowing her to do huge amount of burst damage. It does require her charge shot to charge up the weapon first in order to do that. She can also support 2 DPS with charge rate and attack buff, making her a well-rounded sniper rifle unit, excuse me. The only downside is Maxwell's weakness lies in her second skill. The skill requires more than 5 enemies to be on the screen to use it, making her useless against bosses. But even if she does activate the skill, it only provides her minor critical rate and damage buff compared to other characters, compared to Alice. Now she is decent, you know, better than other sniper rifle users. Next on the list, but just keep in mind about that, okay, guys? Next one up, grouped up in this tier list, is going to be Freema. Freema is not really a damage; she's actually a supporter who specializes in lowering enemies' defenses and increases the max HP of her allies. She does have a higher defense debuff value compared to Exia. However, what she's lacking is damage. Exia has an overall better kit suited for offense, while Freema, her kit is better suited for defense. That's pretty much it for her. If you're looking for like a more defensive team, she's definitely a pick in your sniper rifle team. Other than that, let's move on to the last person in this tier list. Next up, grouped up, and the last one grouped up in this tier list is Delta. Even though she is a SR character, she is in this tier list because she is a burst 2 sniper defender who creates a decoy that taunts enemies for her, and allowing her team to focus on killing enemies without worrying about getting attacked. She also, on top of she's an excellent early game tank. The only weakness to her is that she lacks any offensive capabilities. And I also made a video regarding a synchro device in depth, where you can use her in your synchro device. That way, while you're trying to roll characters to get better SSR characters, you can use her in the meantime. That way you can use her and pay those 10 gems and switch her out for a better SSR character in your synchro device, which I already made a video and in a full depth video in that. But nonetheless, let's get on to the next tier list in our roster here. Next up, that's ranked kind of on the low end of our tier list here, is Yulha. She does give a huge attack buff to her team, which is a whopping 90% at max skill level. She increases her own critical rate and takes some damage away from her team when they're at low HP, which works perfectly with Guillotine and Scarlet, as they can lower the amount of damage they take from enemies while still keeping them at low HP to unlock their full potential. The real downside is that she has a very long cooldown, a 30-second cooldown with her skill for skill 2. And then also skill 1 must be active in order for her burst skill to do max damage. So I can see why she's ranked a little bit on the lower end compared to the previous sniper rifle users that I've discussed in this video. But other than that, guys, we're going to move on to the last and the worst sniper rifle user in our SSR-SR tier list here. And the worst sniper in the game is Eunhwa, which is such a shame because he's such a cool looking character. She's a burst 2 sniper. She specializes in lowering enemies' defense Her damage dealing is low, and a debuff that she uses low. So you feel like she ain't really doing anything. The only thing that's viable in her kit is her skill 2. But the values in her skill are actually decent. But the only thing is it's not enough for her. It's not enough value in her to adding in her team. So just avoid her. Honestly, don't even use her. But we'll see what happens in this game if you do any patching in this game. To see what happens with the tier list. The If you like this video, guys, please like, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. I really appreciate you guys' support. I'm gonna go ahead and leave a link to a website for your tier list if you're a visual learner and you like to read up on the skills and the information that I gave you in this video. I'm also gonna leave a couple of codes for you guys that you guys can use to help push that power cap that you guys need to go ahead and move on to campaign and just level up and progress in the game. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. Holy out.